All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. Have you ever stopped to think about just how much history can go down in a single 24-hour period? We're focusing entirely on one date, May 18th, and looking at how this exact day connects the rise of empires, groundbreaking nuclear power, and literally earth-shattering natural disasters. It's kind of like a giant historical puzzle, and we're going to unpack these monumental milestones right now to see how they shape the world we're living in today. Here's our roadmap for today. We've split this journey into three main themes. First, leaders shaping the world. Second, unleashing explosive power. And finally, wars end and legends begin. We'll be time traveling starting way back in 1804 and 1860, leaping into the 20th century for 1974 and 1980, and finally touching down not that long ago in 2009. Each of these stops reveals an absolutely history-altering moment. So, Part 1. Leaders Shaping the World. Let's see how individual ambition drastically shifted the legal and physical borders of nations. We're kicking things off in 1804. On May 18th, Napoleon Bonaparte was officially declared Emperor of the French. Utilizing his frankly brilliant military strategy, he rose all the way from a commander during the French Revolution to creating a totally new system of government and a massively strengthened army. The French Senate making this declaration, that fundamentally changed the map of Europe forever. But what's the real so what here? Well, it's a fascinating duality. On one hand, Napoleon expanded the French Empire and sparked major wars across Europe that tragically resulted in millions of deaths. But on the flip side, his administrative reforms, specifically his legal system known as the Napoleonic Code, left an indelible mark. This legal framework still heavily influences laws in dozens of countries today. It's this wild mix of destruction and lasting civic structure. Jumping forward to 1860, on this exact same day, Abraham Lincoln became the Republican Party's candidate for President of the United States. Picture America at this moment, deeply, deeply divided, wrestling with the institution of slavery. Contrasted against that was Lincoln's firm platform opposing the expansion of slavery into new territories. His leadership and those iconic speeches really inspired Americans who were desperate for equality and unity. And as we know, just months after securing that candidacy, Lincoln won the election. Now, neutrally speaking, this victory directly angered several southern states and triggered the American Civil War. But ultimately, his steadfast leadership preserved the United States and led to the abolition of slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation. It's just a massive chain reaction of history, all set into motion on this very date. So, having looked at human leadership, we really have to ask ourselves, how did the events of May 18th shift from political power to raw, explosive force? How did this same square on the calendar later become a focal point for unleashing profound physical and scientific might? That brings us to Part 2, Unleashing Explosive Power. We're talking about both science and nature here. Smiling Buddha. That was the secret code name for India's highly successful first nuclear test, which went down on May 18, 1974, in Pokhran. Conducted under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Indian scientists and engineers executed this operation with such extreme secrecy that even top government officials were completely in the dark. It was a massive scientific achievement that officially made India the sixth country in the world to possess nuclear technology. Now, while this test was undeniably a proud symbol of scientific progress and national strength for India, we also have to look at the global ripples. It simultaneously attracted intense international criticism. In fact, many nations imposed restrictive sanctions on India's nuclear and technological programs right after. But despite those international hurdles, India pushed forward, continuing to develop its program into a fully recognized nuclear power. All right, shifting gears to 1980 in Washington state. May 18th marked a terrifying sequence of events when Mount St. Helens erupted violently. It actually started with weeks of earthquakes and warning signs, which finally culminated in this massive, staggering explosion. We're talking about an unbelievable release of ash, smoke, and hot gases blasted right into the atmosphere. The raw power was literally unimaginable. Entire forests were flattened within minutes, and the blast was so loud you could hear it hundreds of kilometers away. It absolutely remains one of the deadliest volcanic events in modern American history. And we really need to pause and reflect on this number right here, 57. That stark figure represents the tragic loss of 57 human lives during that devastating eruption. And alongside those people, thousands of animals were also killed when the mountain blew. It is a deeply sobering reminder of just how uncontrollable and raw Mother Nature can be. But there is a crucial silver lining here. Scientists carefully studied this active research site in the aftermath. The data they gathered from the Mount St. Helens disaster directly led to vastly improved volcanic monitoring systems all around the globe. Those lessons learned undeniably saved countless future lives from similar volcanic events. So as we transition out of this era of explosive physical forces, it brings up another question. What happens when longstanding conflicts finally end? And how do individuals leave lasting legacies? Let's explore how power struggles resolve and human culture moves forward. Welcome to Part 3, Wars End and Legends Begin. We're focusing on peace and legacy now. In 2009, May 18th marked the official announcement ending a long, brutal civil conflict in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan government formally declared the end of the war against the LTTE, who were also known as the Tamil Tigers. The sheer weight of that announcement is really captured in this number, 26. This represents the nearly 26 years that the war lasted. More than a quarter of a century of conflict resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people, deeply affecting the nation's economy, its infrastructure, and most importantly, its citizens. Following the defeat of the LTTE, the country entered a critical new phase, focused entirely on rebuilding and peace. And it is absolutely essential to note that this is very much an ongoing process. Discussions concerning human rights and reconciliation are actively continuing today, which makes this one of the most significant and evolving moments in Sri Lanka's modern history. Now, shifting over to the cultural realm, May 18th also happens to be the birthday of some highly influential modern figures. We have Pope John Paul II, born in 1920, who went on to become one of the most influential popes in modern history. We've also got beloved actress and comedian Tina Fey, born in 1970, and the legendary Hong Kong actor Chow Yun-fat. It's kind of crazy, right? It's a day that truly birthed legends across completely different spheres of human achievement. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. May 18th serves as a profound reminder of how history is continually shaping our world. From Napoleon's imperial ambitions and Lincoln's quest for unity, all the way to secretive nuclear tests, devastating volcanic eruptions, and the end of a 26-year civil war. I mean, this explainer has really shown us the incredible density of history packed into just one single day. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. Which type of historical event, human ambition, scientific progress, or natural disaster, do you think has the most lasting impact on our modern world? Think about everything we've covered today. If you enjoyed unpacking these topics with me, please like, share, and subscribe to History News for more amazing daily explainers. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.